这些年一个人，风也过，雨也走，有过泪，有过错，还记得坚持什么？真爱过。
Have you ever been to a foreign country? How about Asia? As you probably know, China is the world's most populated nation, with over 1.3 billion people. It is the world's second largest economy and is quickly becoming a world power. Today, I'd like to share personal experiences of the types of people and circumstances you may run into when you visit this country. My name is Faith. My Chinese friends call me Xiaohui. I started learning Chinese when I was 14, and after graduating high school, I was given the opportunity to teach at an orphanage in southern China. I've been to China 3 times, for a total of 8 months. Here is a picture of the children I lived with, 80 children, at the orphanage. Notice there are as many boys as girls. Many people ask me if we have more girls dropped off at the orphanage, but the answer is no. Most of the children's stories are the same. Their dad died and their mom left to get remarried or find work somewhere in the city. But before I start telling stories, let's look at what's fun about traveling abroad. You get to go to places you've never seen, like the mountains of Zhangjiajie or the walking streets of Shanghai. If you go up north, you can visit the Forbidden City in Beijing or see the terracotta soldiers in Xi'an. You get to discover things you've never heard about. Various fruits we don't have here in the States. Vendors selling stinky tofu. Children collecting trash to sell in order to get money for their dinner. And beggars on the streets, my favorite of which are the old men who play a 2-stringed upright violin called an erhu. You also have the chance to meet new people and observe their way of life, like the gatekeeper I became friends with at the countryside school. Auntie Liu lives in a small, very small room, just inside the school gate. There is space for 1 bed, the bed her and her 2 children share. Opposite the bed is a shelf with books and cooking items. Under the shelf is where they keep miscellaneous necessities like the electric fan that they use for an air conditioner. She keeps a few chickens behind her room and squats outside her front door when preparing food. She has almost nothing, but she has wisdom. I would often speak with her about the children and try to learn about them. She knows almost every child in that school and understands them well. You might ask, why does she live like that? Who would live in a room at a school gate 7 days a week? She does it so she can send her children to school. And comfort isn't the only thing she sacrifices. One day when I was visiting her, she had cut off her long, dark, beautiful hair. She'd sold it in order to buy better food for her children. From meeting people like this, one can learn a lot about self-sacrifice and being content with little. Many people in China will welcome you into their lives. Their hospitality runs deep, and they like to show foreigners the beauty of their city or family. You'll probably be invited to some homes for dinner, but watch out. You might encounter something you'd rather not eat, like duck tongue, donkey, dog, or blood soup. Yeah, I've come face to face with all that. Here's a dish of chicken. If you look close, you can see the chicken's head in the upper left-hand corner and a foot in the center of the dish, right under some steam there. In China, they cook the entire chicken or duck to keep the flavor. Yum. Many Chinese are friendly to foreigners, but some may seem nosy. Almost everywhere you go, you will be stared at and called out to. Where you from? What? How are you? This is amusing the first week, but it quickly gets old. People stare at you, no matter where you are. Walking down the road, I'm afraid I'll be the cause of an accident because of all the men who turn their heads around almost completely to look at me as they're riding by on their bicycles. Chinese also like taking your picture. One time, while waiting for a friend to pick me up in town, I noticed a man walking back and forth rocking his baby. Once he stopped, looked at the phone in his hand, faced it toward me, pushed a button, and kept walking. I chuckled, thinking about how he would tell his friends and show them the picture of the white girl he'd seen in town. Chinese people also want to get their picture with you, probably because there aren't a lot of foreigners in China. Here's a picture, sorry it's a little blurry, of me with two girls at an ice cream shop. I don't know who those girls were, but they asked to get a photo with me, so there we are. Another thing about people in China is that there are so many, everywhere. In the cities, you can't walk down a street without seeing people. In the markets, you'll probably bump into fellow shoppers, but they won't mind because they bump into each other every day. You can glance up streets at a busy time and see nothing but black heads of hair. Being around so many people was one of the greatest culture shocks for me. In China, everyone walks. If your apartment building is less than 10 stories high, you probably won't have an elevator. You better not forget the milk when you go to the supermarket, because otherwise you'll have to go all the way down the stairs again to get it. Most people do not own a car, so buses, taxis, trains, and subways stay very busy. That's good news for those of us who are tired of paying for gas. The most common method of transportation is buses. To go from one point in the city to another, it only costs normally 1 or 2 renminbi. That's an average of 20 cents. Such a deal compared to traveling here in the States. Another great thing about going to China is the new experiences you'll encounter, such as outdoor markets where they sell live fish, chicken, and duck on one end, with vats of blood and tables of tofu on the other. The people selling fish are the most fun to watch. A man stands inside the pool of fish, waiting for you to tell him which one you want. His rain boots come all the way up to his knees, and he wears a dirty apron over his entire front. He's quick and can snatch up any fish you want. He then slings it onto a cutting board, fillets it in about 1 minute, and gets back in the tub for the next customer. Talk about fresh fish. China is home to a myriad of famous buildings, museums, national parks, and breathtaking mountains. Mountain climbing is very popular in China, if you can call it climbing. Most mountains have cement stairs going all the way up. No trails. Ouch. If you want to save your thighs, though, you should be able to take a skylift up. Once at the top, there will be a huge Buddhist temple where you can rest and offer incense. If you're an incense person, that is. So, we've looked at how fun it is to travel in China, what the people are like, and what sort of things you'll see there. Now you may be asking, how can I afford to go to China? It may seem far away and out of the question for you, but it's actually much easier than people think. Let's look at the cost of airfare. The cheapest you can get round-trip ticket to Beijing is $800 if you buy early enough. The average ticket costs $1,200. Compared to going to Alaska or Mexico, that's quite doable. Now, the real deal is when you get inside the country. $1 American makes 6.5 Chinese renminbi. Most things are cheaper in China than they are in America. For instance, a bottle of Coke here costs about $1.50. In China, it's only 3 renminbi. That's less than 50 cents. Eating and transportation are Now let's talk about hotels and how you can save money there. According to TripFinder.com, the top-rated hotel in Beijing was only $125 per night. That's comparable to their top-rated hotel in Orlando, which is $150 a night. But I'm willing to bet you'll have more fun if you stay in Beijing. There is something important you should know about using the restroom in China. public restrooms don't offer toilet paper. So live like a native and always carry a pack of tissues with you. But that's not the only thing about going to the bathroom. Don't flush the paper down the drain. There are baskets next to the commode for you to throw your used paper. That makes the bathroom very smelly, but that's not the hard part about using a Chinese bathroom. Most public toilets, and some private ones, are not the kind you sit on. We Westerners who live in China like to refer to Chinese toilets as squatties, because to use them, one must squat over the porcelain hole in the ground and watch out that one's shirt or skirt doesn't touch the slick floor. But that's not the most difficult thing about going to the bathroom in China. The most public places, such as bus or train stations, don't have doors on the stalls. In fact, the walls simply go up to your waist. That means when you squat, you can see the heads of all the other people in the bathroom. It's not a big deal once you get used to it. I just made it a habit to run to the back of the room and go quickly. Here's a picture of one of the restrooms in the girls' dorm of the orphanage I lived at. As you can see, there is one Western toilet, but there are no walls between the squatties. It's an open room where everyone is a big, happy family. When I lived there, I avoided using the girls' restrooms until the children were in school. But one morning, very early, I was squatting over the pot when the tiniest of the girls came in, squinted a smile at me, and said, "Good morning, Sister Faith," and squatted down right next to me. I was so tired and she was so cute that I didn't mind her company. China is a land of beauty, from the mountains of the countryside to the city lights. It is a land full of people whose lives are as different as night from day. Street vendors, business CEOs, peasant farmers, government officials, students, teachers, all play important roles in making this amazing nation what it is, a rising power and an enriching place to visit. I hope you take the chance to see China for yourself. It is an adventure of a lifetime.